I just wanted to run this down for you real quick. So I've got my scope right now set on 10 US up here. That's the divide. That's the time divide, and the volt divide is 5. So I'm going to check in the power supply on this 10 amps. So right here, that's the gate, and so I can check all my gates right here in this amp set. Set like this, which you can add a little bit of time to it and see them all. But okay, so now if you want to see the drain, you're going to have to increase your voltage to about 10 or 20 divide. So then you can get in here on the drains. So I'm going to take it back down to 10 volts divide. So that's your waveform on your drains, which is going to be the center leg. The center leg. So now moving on to the output. So we're going to have a high side and a low side. So basically, whenever you want to check the output on these full bridges, just go ahead and give it about either 50 to 100 volts. Big amps I usually give 100, but this one should be okay with about 50. So down here, I know you probably can't see, but you can understand what I'm doing. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to get on, this is going to be the high side gate. So you see how it's a big waveform. So this is the gate waveform. That's called the high side. Then on down here, we'll get on the low side. And you can see how small it is. So before, whenever you were saying that it was negative down here, so you would have that little waveform down here. That's because you have a positive rail and a negative rail amp. This is a single rail, so this one starts at 0 and ends at, 100 and whatever. It starts at 0 and goes up here. When the other amps, like that other one you were talking about, starts down here and goes up here. So that means your low side waveform right here. So that means that is going to appear really hard negative, but it's still going to be there. It's just going to be down here. So and then you can jump onto the other side. Bam. You got low side, if I can stay on it. Bam, you got low side drive over on this side of half of the amp. Bam, you can check here. And if you want to, you can check the drain on the high side, which there's no point in that, huh? There we go. So this is your source waveform on the high side. So anyways, so next I've got a signal generator hooked up right here. So I'm going to show you. So this is kind of just part of my process right here, how I go through. So if I have switching on the output, my next step, I'll throw a generator on there. And so what I'll do, it's going to be kind of hard, but so what I'll do is I'm going to get on this gate right here, and you can see that. So I don't know how I'm going to do this exactly, but so I'm turning up my signal. Let me make this bigger. Okay, so I'm turning up my signal generator right now with my little fingers. Can you see? You can see how that starts. That's called modulation. That's what happens on your gates whenever you're driving a signal. So it modulates. So what it's doing right now is over here. Now notice bam. You see this? So when you want to see a sine wave, you have to adjust. So I'm on 5 US. When you want to see a sine wave on these, you need to go all the way to the left, basically. If you aren't sure, see how that's roll? Or you see how it just keeps running? Okay, now it doesn't. So right there, about 10 ms, 10 milliseconds. So bam, see that sine wave? That's on one terminal. Bam. The other one. See, this is a full bridge amp. They say you can't test the output with a you know, a scope like this, but you can. Like, it's you just gotta realize that it's not going to be biased to zero. Like, this is up in the, see how it's up in the middle, and here's the other terminal. So you're not exactly seeing the full, you're not seeing the full potential, but you can see that it's there. Like, it's there, it's working. So like this amp, I don't know what's wrong with it. It just I got it, and they're like, they didn't even tell me what's wrong. The only thing I see is this is melted, so I assume maybe the terminal might have melted from the board, but it doesn't look like it. But I have the power supplies running. I got 4 amps of current, which is pretty good for a base 8K. I've got switching on both halves of the amp. I drove a signal into it. I've got modulation. Okay. Check the sine wave. Bam. It's making a sine wave. So now I'm going to go back, reset this back down to 20 or 10 US, which is my time divide, and 5 volts right there. So, you know, now I'm back down to where I can see my gate waveforms, but that's kind of just my base, like where I leave it at for diagnosing. So I've got a bunch of amps right now. I'm going through and seeing what's wrong with them all, but I thought this would be a good one to kind of show you with the scope, like how I use my scope. So I do this. I take every measurement in these full bridge amps, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, every measurement I take, it may not be exactly like, but it works. So like, I can see that there's a sine wave on that output, even though it's a full bridge. I can see it. It's just up here. But always ground to your negative. If you always leave your ground right there, you're good to touch. You can touch anything in this amp with this lead and measure it. It's just, you got to know that, like, okay, yeah, it's negative 150 volts, but that's where it's supposed to be. Like, now if you had referenced, like, if you had grounded to that, you know, then it would be right in the middle. But, you know, I see it down here when if you hooked it up to exactly right, like, you know, if you ground it on this point, then it would be in the middle. But I don't, like, that takes too long. Like, I can just leave that there, and I can do once you learn, like, okay, this is down here, this is what this looks like, that's, you know, you get kind of, it makes it a little faster. But I just thought I'd make you that video for you.